What should I do next? I caught my wife in a compromising position with my friend after seeing what you wrote, 080812. I really don't know what to think about this cheating story because it's not very clear. My wife, 39F, and I, 42M, have been married for 15 plus years. With kids, about 2 years ago, we started hanging out with this other couple. We met through our school. We've gotten really close. I consider the guy 43M. My friend and my wife also hangs out with his wife when the four of us hang out with our families. There's usually a good amount of alcohol involved. The event in question happened right before Mother's Day, and I still haven't digested it. We were hanging out with the other couple as usual when my wife went to the kitchen. With the guy to refill their drinks, I had a mostly full glass and was looking pretty comfy on the couch, still talking to the other wife, when I decided to go join them in the kitchen. For whatever reason, when I got there, I saw my wife with her, back against a wall, laughing with my friend leaning over her, his mouth maybe kissing her neck or really close to it. They were both pretty drunk. I immediately screamed, "What the F is going on?" They jumped apart looking shocked to see me, and my wife kept saying she could explain, etc. It was like something out of a crappy Lifetime movie. We were all talking over each other, and then I started heading to the car, grabbing my kids on the way. I was about to leave her, but she climbed into the passenger seat anyway. I wasn't going to kick her out of the car with our kids in the back. So we drove home in silence. When we got home, my wife started crying. She told me, "This is what happened. Weeks ago, he started doing random small things around her while we all hung out. If my and his wife's back was turned, he would grab her hand or touch her hair the most. They spoke about it was that she said he should really stop doing these things, but then kept letting him or finding ways to be alone momentarily with him. She claims they never communicated by text or phone call, never met up, and never even kissed. In retrospect, I do think he was subtly flirting with her, but I thought at the time that it was the usual gentle teasing we would all do as friends. I asked her if they were going to kiss that night if I hadn't caught them, and she says she's not sure, but she may have let him. She says she's not even physically attracted to him, but enjoyed the validation she got from him putting these moves on her. She has had a long history of requiring a lot of reassurance that she's attractive and that I am still into her. She immediately let me have her phone and search through it, and I didn't find any texts between them. I asked her if this would have led to SGS, and she adamantly said no. The worst thing then was that I asked her if she fantasized about him when she was with me, or getting herself off. She said no to thinking of him while with me, but admitted yes to thinking of him when alone. Needless to say, I'm cutting off all contact with my friend. I told my wife I'm thinking about divorce, and she's begging me to reconsider. She's telling me we will go to counseling. I can track her location, etc. All the things. This really sucks. I don't know how I can get past this betrayal. I don't know how I can trust her again. But I also don't know how I can leave what I thought was an amazing marriage and give our kids a broken home without attempting to try to work through this. I can't talk to any of my friends or family about this because it makes me sick, and I feel embarrassed that I let this happen. It's been hard pretending to be happy on Mother's Day for the sake of our kids. I can't sleep and have barely eaten. I can't concentrate at work at home. My wife just cries all the time. What the F do I do? Top relevant comments, commenter, you didn't catch them, and they would have done more and more each time until finally meeting up alone. I don't know what you do here, to be honest. Obviously, the friend has to go and be blocked everywhere. What did the guy's wife do about all of this? OP response. I wasn't really paying attention to the other wife because I was so upset. She seemed shocked too, but she didn't say much. She just kept repeating what had happened. I saw my wife send her one text message since then saying, "I'm sorry I didn't stop this and my part in it all. I haven't tried to reach out to her myself." Did the other wife find out? Yeah, I replied earlier, but she also came in shocked when she heard me yelling, but she hasn't responded to my wife's apology text since, so I don't know how much she knows. I don't know if I'm ready to reach out to her either. She may not want to hear from me, or might have heard a different version of events from her husband comment or two. She's lying to you. No one has sexual fantasies about someone they're not at least semi-interested in. You can be flattered. Buy interest and make it clear it's not welcome. She did nothing of the sort. She encouraged it and got off on the sneaking around, which means she got off on lying to you. Op's response. She explained that she isn't physically attracted to him and wouldn't imagine herself actually having sex with him as he is in real life. He was more of this vague presence in her fantasy that was just obsessed with her and made her feel desired. You're right. She didn't stop him as she should. She said she got off on the high of feeling wanted. Op adds an edit to his post. I just want to clarify one point because it's been brought up so many times. We don't drink and drive. One of us is usually the designated driver and has one glass of wine with dinner while the other three get a little tipsy. I felt the need to say this so people wouldn't keep thinking we were putting kids in danger. I wasn't drinking the night this happened, and I'm sorry I didn't do so before. News, 15 days later. Update, 15 days later. I'm sorry it took me so long to get back to this. I've been very busy, as you can imagine. I really appreciate all the help and advice you've given me during this tough time. Soon after the original post, I contacted the other wife and asked if we could meet in person or at least talk on the phone to see if our stories were similar. She basically replied, "We are planning to move forward as a family, and talking about it with you will not be conducive to that process for us." She then wished me peace or some other nonsense, and then both of them blocked both of us. I know there are other ways to get in touch with them, but I'm not going to be that guy. We decided to start marriage counseling and have an appointment set up this week. I also finally convinced my wife to get therapy for her issues as well, but her appointment isn't until later in June. She is still being transparent and answering whatever questions I have about anything. She is still maintaining that all she ever did was flirt and share a few touches here and there while we were all hanging out and would never have met up with him outside. She says she enjoyed the thrill of being found desirable by someone that was taboo. It got to her head. I looked through her phone many times again, more thoroughly, and I didn't find any deleted texts, apps, etc. I even looked up websites on how to catch cheating on phones and follow their advice on how to search. I hate to disappoint most of you who commented, but I am trying to give her this benefit and move forward with our marriage for now, as she has been an amazing wife. Otherwise, I do know that I may never have 100% of the truth. I'm not an idiot. I don't trust her fully, but maybe one day I can get there. Here's the tricky part. Our kids are in the same elementary school as theirs, and my wife is involved in the PTA, so there's a guarantee we will run into this family. It's actually pretty surreal to go from being such good friends to no contact. My wife has begged me not to divulge any of this to anyone at the school or mutual friends, as she doesn't want our kids to lose friends or our family to be stigmatized. I do see her point about that, but I did follow your advice and spoke to a couple of my best friends from before about what transpired. They were shocked she would do this, but supportive when I told them I'd try to forgive her. I'm thinking of getting a therapist, though I still don't want to tell anyone in my family because they can keep grudges and would use this against her forever. Finally, I'm sorry. I made the original post seem like we were all alcoholics or something, but that's really not the case. We would get together and drink 2 to 3 times a month, and it was our main social drinking outlet. We would have maybe 3 to 4 drinks each, except for the one who was the designated driver. We don't drink when it's just the 2 of us. Except for date nights, we don't do weed or other drugs. I only mentioned the alcohol to show that they were both drunk when this happened, not as an excuse or the main point of the story. Thanks again for all the comments. It was nice to have a place to go for this crap before I was ready to talk to people. I still feel like my life has turned upside down, and I'm still hoping it's all a bad dream, but I think I've accepted it better now. Top or important comments. Extra information from OP. I don't want to keep saying the same thing in different comments, so I'll try to answer the main issues raised here. My wife is in for some trouble. She is a wreck, barely eating or sleeping. At least on the outside, she seems to be suffering. I heard her tell her sister on speakerphone what she did, and she couldn't keep it together during the conversation. They were both crying. Her parents may know too, as she didn't tell her sister. To keep it a secret, it was also her idea to get therapy for herself, but we couldn't find an appointment until weeks later the school year is over, and she will also take a step back from as many activities with the PTA next year, only attending, things both of us can make. I just mentioned that to share that we as a family will run into theirs. At some point, I am in agreement with her that I don't want her to be publicly shamed in our school and neighborhood. If anyone else has kids, they may partly understand why they often go over to play with neighbor kids at will. It's a typical suburb with gossipy moms. I know for sure this crap would bleed over and affect their friendships. I am not willing to allow our kids to pay any price. For her actions, I'm not bearing any burden of protecting her image because I also have no desire to shout this from the rooftops. It's enough to me that some of my friends and her family know she knows I haven't ruled out divorce. She is giving me immediate access to her phone on demand. But I'm not really using that privilege now. I'm planning on waiting weeks and months in case you all are correct, and she is waiting for time to pass to get more comfortable, and then I will really go nuts with stalking her. Maybe even hire a private investigator. This part is probably not the healthiest thing to do to reconcile. But I'm hoping it can be like that only temporarily until I feel better. I may never feel 100% better. But I do know any further indiscretion will be a complete deal breaker. I don't think the other wife's quiet necessarily means more happened. From what I know of her, she tends to avoid dealing with problems and has scolded my wife for getting into fights with me over things she thinks are unimportant. That being said, I have a clear picture in my mind of what my wife looked like when I caught them. She was leaning against the wall, and he was about to kiss her neck. She didn't look aroused. She was giggling. Her face looked like it does when she's being tickled or something. Her arms were at her sides, not on him. At least this picture doesn't make her look like the aggressor. This is tough. It's easy to say divorce when you're not the one married for a long time with small children. I'm sure more happened, but I have no proof of anything other than what my wife says. Commenter. How will you handle interactions between the kids? I think they'll tell their own kids to stop being friends with and talking to your kids. That's where your wife really messed up your family. From now on, the kids will be hurt, teachers and parents will notice the tension in the relationship and think there's been an affair. What will your ex-friends say when they talk to you? What will you say? Op's response. We told them we didn't agree with them and wouldn't be going over there anymore. We told them they could still be friends and play together at school. That's all we said for now. We'll see what happens next. Yeah, I know people may hear about it and make assumptions, but friends fight over a lot of other things too.